it feels like Corofin are just kind of getting rolling again. Like they have struggled through a couple of the games up to this point. Needed a replay to beat Tuam. Now just beat Ballintubber by 2 points. So Corofin 110, Ballintubber 11 points in the other semi-final. Tyrconnell Gales 8 points. Pádraig Pearses of Roscommon 10. So that's going to be a Corofin Pádraig Pearses final. A goal from man of the match, Liam Silk, 2 minutes into the second half is kind of probably what ultimately helped seal the win for Corofin against Ballintubber. They went 6 points ahead with 15 to go, still just won by 2. And as much class as they have, and they definitely do up and down the field, you wonder, are they slipping to some degree, or is it just that they're struggling to just fully get going this season, and they will pretty soon, and they're going to be unstoppable? Because, like, if you look at the main threats left in the All-Ireland series, Corofin are favourites and just very, very, pretty much unbackable favourites at this point. They're evens. Ballyboden are next at 3-1. Then Kilcoo 10-1. Nemo, who Corofin pasted in the 2018 final, 10-1. Glentees 18-1. Clonmel Commercials 20-1, who I watched this weekend and were very impressive. Clontibret 20-1. Pádraig Pearses 25-1. And Portlaoise then 25-1. And it just feels like it's almost going to be a procession at this point. The Corofin are going to do the first ever Club All-Ireland 3 in a row, and not only do it quite well, because normally once they've been, like, because their players haven't really been massively together up until between the All-Ireland final and then for most of the summer, and then there was injuries, like Dahi Burke was playing with Turlough. Now all of a sudden it feels like, like coming into the first county final, they were missing 3 players. Then by the time of the second game, they were all back able to start again. Micheál Lundy, Dahi Burke, and it was Kieran Fitzgerald, the fullback, who played and came off just towards the very end, limped off against Ballintubber, who never fully got going. But they were definitely quite wasteful too, Ballintubber, and they'll see it as a missed opportunity, much like Tuam will. So what's the common denominator? Corofin just know how to get the job done. Pádraig Pearses did too. Slippery pitch over there in Ruislip, heavy rainfall the day before the game, but I think most people would expect them to get the job done, and they did. Double scores, 2-6 and 2-10 to 8 points. The Leinster Club quarterfinals. Ballybaskell scored 1-4 as Ballyboden went up to the Gaelic grounds in Drogheda and beat Newtown Blues 1-11 to 5 points. Very disappointing to just score 5 points in a provincial clash for a county champion. Ballyboden are obviously very strong. Like Ballybaskell and Ryan Baskell will be starting on most county teams. Obviously, Ballybaskell went away this summer after playing a bit in the league. Conalkeeny came on and scored 2 points. Ross McGarry and Cathal Flaherty scored a point each. Also, for Newtown Blues, Andy MacDonald, who people would know from the Louth team, was captain at one point. He scored a couple of frees. Kieran Downey with a free. Rob Carr and former county star Colm Judge, they scored a point each. So just 2 points from play overall. Ryan Baskell actually scored a point from the penalty. He put that one over. In one of the other quarterfinals, St. Pat's of Wicklow, they're gone after losing on penalties to Portlaoise. So it finished 2-8 to 1-11 after extra time. Went to penalties. Portlaoise won 5-4. Cruel way to go out, of course. And Pat's manager Casey O'Brien said afterwards, it's not the right way to go out. It's terrible to put that sort of pressure on amateur players. I don't agree with it at all. We'd have had no problem in going down to Portlaoise and playing a replay. Even if you have to play it on a Wednesday night under lights, it's a better way of going out than on penalties. I think it's something that they have to look at. I actually disagree, because it's definitely harsh. But like, look at any sport. Look at like any of the soccer leagues that are played around Ireland, where they take it properly seriously. Where I'm not talking about, it's kind of like an afterthought of a winter league where players don't really care if they win or lose. There are penalty shootouts. There are plenty of sports where there are penalty shootouts. So why not GA also? You can't have the fixtures being knocked back the whole time just because one game couldn't be separated on the night. As I said, I prefer golden score. That once it gets to the second, once the extra time is over, the referee lets out a signal and just says it's golden score. I think that's the best way to do it, but if not, penalties, because otherwise the fixture logjam is never going to be fixed, and we give out about seasons going on too long and why does the league take so long. But this is a little thing that can be controlled, and I just don't see the point in going to replay after replay, because then you'll end up like let's say they went to a replay on Wednesday night, one team goes through, but they had a couple of hamstring injuries and have to play the following week. That's not fair either on amateur players. So no matter what, I think it's very easy to throw out the amateur thing and kind of, by mentioning the fact that they're amateur players, that puts weight behind your argument. But you can look at it a few ways. Kevin O'Brien at 42, he tweeted, a year after he had a 61st minute penalty saved in the Leinster semi-final against Kilmacud Crokes, Craig Rogers nails the winning spot kick in a shootout to seal Port Leash's return to the last four of the province. So also in the quarterfinals, Gary Castle of Westmeath, they beat Rat Oath 3-11 to 2-12. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, the night before the game, the brother of Desi Dolan, Gary Dolan, so he's the manager. His wife Emer gave birth to baby Jack. So there was this big hoo-ha over whether he'd even make the match, and I think he got the green light, go ahead and joined the team. Got a few hours sleep and went back with the team. So a fairly nice 12 to 14, 16 hours, whatever it was for Gary there. So Gary Castle are seeking to add to their only previous title in 2011, and they've got Ballybowden next. Éire Óg sprung I would see this as a fairly big surprise by beating Sarsfields of Kildare 112 to 0-9. So Moorfield won Leinster a couple of years ago, or was it even last year? And you've got Sarsfields who dethroned them, losing to a team from Carlow. Albeit Éire Óg have a great history and have some Leinster titles from the past. 7 points to 1 in the second half to Éire Óg. So that tells you a fair story that Sarsfields fell away. But this is an Éire Óg team that lost by 17 points to Mullinachta a year ago. So where are Sarsfields at to produce a performance like that, especially in the second half? So that should be very, very disappointing for them. Éire Óg, of course, they'll be dreaming of big things at this point. Then the Munster Club quarterfinals were on this weekend. Milltown Malbay, they beat Rathgormack of Waterford 111 to 11 points. Nemo Rangers beat Newcastle West. Now I suppose most people would have seen this as it's going to be a fairly routine win. Ended up being 1-9 to 9 points. So Nemo faced Austin Stacks next. Now the scores for Nemo: Luke Connolly got 5, 2 of those were from place ball. Kieran Dalton got 1-1. Kevin O'Donovan, Stephen Cronin and Mark Cronin scored a point each. For Newcastle West, Ian Corbett and Owen Hurley got 3 points each. Sean Murphy, Thomas Quilligan and Stephen Brosnan, they all got points. So as I said, Nemo face Austin Stacks next, and that's because Dr. Crokes lost the county final to East Kerry. So whoever wins the league championship, they end up going through. If so a divisional side can't go through to Munster, and because Dr. Crokes lost the final, they don't just go through in the same way that Glen Rovers would have went through to the Munster Hurling Championship after losing the divisional side. Instead, the winners of the Club League go through, or the League Championship go through. So that is Austin Stacks who won that. And Kieran Donaghy was on Off the Ball AM talking about how they've been training away. But I think it's hard to know exactly where your heads would be at. Training in the hope with the possibility of going into the Munster series. I think it's an odd one. And Austin Stacks are going to be up against it to rouse themselves for that. And as you can see in the betting, they're not even mentioned. And again, it all feeds back into Corofin. It's going to be hard to see anyone but Corofin winning that. But back to East Kerry now. They beat Dr. Crokes by double scores, 2-14 to 1-7. David Clifford and Dara Roach, they got the goals, and it's their first title in 20 years. Paddy Clifford, brother of Dara, he won man of the match. So you can see Kieran Donaghy tweeting about him, saying, "What planet is David Clifford from? I'm not sure. His brother Paddy is more human and should be a serious option for Kerry half-forward line next year. Liam Kearney should also be in the squad. Dr. Crokes, a decade of dominance, great team, and won't be going anywhere," which seems fairly certain. But I see some people talking about, well, why don't the divisional teams go through to the provincial series? I think it would be insane. And anyone who asks the question, why would a divisional team not go through, doesn't have an understanding of club whatsoever. Like, suggesting it means you don't understand it. So basically you're saying, like, could a quarter of a county or an amalgamation of a lot of different clubs not go through? I mean, that's kind of somewhere between club and inter-county. It's not club. So obviously there are amalgamations, but this is like an East Kerry, like a full side of a county go through, where there are plenty of clubs where there's nothing happening but Gaelic football. Some are weak, obviously, but still, no, I think you don't understand club if you're even bringing it up. There was other stuff going on in football over the weekend. Martin Murphy tweeted, Martin Murphy, just back from Temple No, they proved too strong for St. Saviour's in the end, winning 5-12 to 2-9. St. Saviour's scored 1-2 in the last few minutes, but Temple No had long since taken off their main men. It should be some battle with Éire Óg of Cork next Sunday. I think that Temple No are probably as big a banker for the for an All-Ireland club title at intermediate level as you're ever going to see. Ty Crowley, Killian and Adrian Spillane, and just I think one of the Crowleys is in there as well, so they're going to be very, very hard to stop. A mention in the Leinster Intermediate Football Championship for Mullinavat. They beat Ballybockle of Dublin 3-11 to 2-11. This Mullinavat team, I don't even know how often they would kick a football from one end of the year to the other, especially when hurling is on. But Mullinavat tweeted hashtag shock and awe, hashtag Vegas Aboo. A few photos from our victory for the Vegas boys representing Kilkenny Gaelic football with pride. Also, Rosenallis beat Father Manning Gales in their intermediate clash. The ladies' football over the weekend, the All-Ireland Club senior semi-finals. Mourneabbey of Cork 2-13, Donamoyne of Monaghan 1-10, Kilkerran Clonberne of Galway 5-12, Foxrock Cabinteely 2-10.